welcome back to another Stormy Daez, the podcast. We are live and in effect. Welcome, family. Hey,
Yes, hello. How are we all doing today?
hey, family. We're so glad you came and took time to listen to another Stormy Daez. There's always a storm on the internet. And we are going to just dive right in on the Derek Chauvin trial, day number 3. Witnesses testify after disturbing video of George Floyd. Uh, this is like a big whopper. What do you think? How are you tonight?
I'm doing for asking. It's definitely a lot to unpack because people take it all different ways. It's like a real
So, upon reading on the USA Today, um, day number 3 of the trial, I am blown away because I just feel kind of bad. I wasn't sure how I felt about the whole Black Lives Matter movement. I wasn't sure how I felt about the whole George Floyd because when I heard about it, I kind of, I was able to listen to the story, but I wasn't able to really watch the video. I just don't think I could have handled that. But yesterday, for the first time, I actually watched the video and I was just completely just taken back. I couldn't even believe what I saw. Did you get a chance to see the video?
I just actually brought myself to watch the incident um about a half hour ago. Because honestly, I didn't think that I would want that ingrained into my mind. The image of someone being so mistreated and just like the whole thing, I couldn't deal with it. But I thought, let me just grab the bull by the horns and watch this footage, put in my big girl panties, and then let's discuss, because I can't discuss it without actually seeing the footage. So yeah, I'm pretty disgusted. Very upsetting.
An MMA fighter asked the officer to stop the blood choke on George Floyd. Um, like I said, one of the things that I love about radio and podcasts, you can, multitask and do things. So when I had originally heard the story, I was doing some things around the house and I was listening. And when it came on the screen, I was just like, oh my goodness, I can't even pay attention to that. But I was able to listen to what they were saying and it was just horrifying. And some of the testimony that, they were saying in the proceedings today really was like a shocker. Minneapolis prosecutors called, their first 3 witnesses and they began laying out their case. I believe it was on Monday in the trial. The former Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, he's being charged. And this video with Floyd went viral and it pretty much touched everyone worldwide. And I mean, it was pretty graphic. Bystanders were taking videos. And like I said, I didn't really get a chance to like really sit down and really view it. But when I did, I was just like, I mean, it was very emotional. Uh, how did you feel?
I really felt and do feel a way about this entire situation because I feel that there's so much injustice and so much trickery and deception about the way that facts are presented to the public and the way that people interpret said facts. I think it's like surreal to me. I can't think of a better word than surreal, that this is the reality of the world that we live
They said that allegedly 9 minutes and 29 seconds he had his knee on his neck. and he said, "I can't breathe," 27 times, and witnesses urging, "Please get off his neck." Now, my question is, why the knee on the neck? That's just the first question.
I guess that's only in the mind of Mr. Chauvin, but to me, I think that I saw a power hungry racist person who was getting a thrill out of just the power to have that control over somebody else's life. I mean, was Mr. Floyd showing any kind of resistance? Or was he with someone with someone's knee on his neck that he can't move, being told, get up, get in the car, do this, do that? How's he gonna do any of that with your knee on his neck and he can't breathe? Bloody nose, like you could tell that he was in excruciating pain. This officer justified. I mean, how was Mr. Floyd resisting? How was Mr. Floyd a threat?
Chauvin has a second-degree charge. He also has a third-degree charge. And if these charges are convicted, he could face 10 to 15 years. Do you think that would be suitable? What do you think would happen, let's just say hypothetically, if he was not charged and set free?
Well, I won't think about that until if it went that way, because I'm hoping that that's not what happens. But honestly, if you want me to keep it all the way real, which I always do, I'm one of those people that believes in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And I don't think that even if he gets 15 years, that's going to vindicate that a person, a soul, is no longer here on this planet because of someone else's hate, insecurity, rage, cruelty.
I don't understand. I just think it's so strange and it still bothers me to this day. Um, I'm very thankful that one of the witnesses, and I'm going to quote the name from USA Today. This was published on March 31st. Donald Williams, on Monday afternoon, he gave his testimony, and Williams is a trained mixed martial artist who said he tried to intervene. And he was basically saying that the type of position that this person had on his neck, Mr. Chauvin, was a form of a martial art move. What do you think about that?
I don't know what kind of move it was other than a racist move, an insecure move, a petty move, and a move
It was
of
called like a blood knee choke. Like, it was cutting off.
whatever the technical name of the move of. I'm not gonna dance around the fact that the officer wasn't being overpowered or threatened at the time. I mean, he down here wanted to mace the people that were recording him as he was doing this.
Wow.
About the situation, around the time that this was taking place, I had my own problem of a person who was very vehemently stalking me. I had a case of a stalker, like a sick weirdo, a drug addict who spent 80% of his adult life in prison, got out. I tried to help the person, right, rehabilitate his life. And after becoming aware of just a life of depravity and crime, I separated myself from it. Now, this person was like climbing my fire escape and getting drugs and robbing drug spots and doing all this stuff, like doing sex trafficking. Just a menace to the society and to the youth. I know the person has assaulted several people in the community and never gotten held accountable for it. And whenever the Black Lives Matter was happening, all the rioting and the understaff of the police and all the chaos is when this stalking was taking place. But I will never forget on one of the several incidences when I called the police that they said, oh, and they made it a very, very crucial point. You do not have audio visual recorded proof that this person is coming in your yard, climbing your fire escape, being a weirdo. This is a serious allegation. You can't play with somebody's freedom. Okay.
Well, let me get this straight. You were being stalked?
Absolutely, yes. And it was a complete and entire nightmare. And the police absolutely would not help me. I called the Albany Police Department numerous occasions all summer long because the person kept showing up at my house and coming into my property. And I knew it was him because I would find his brand of beer cans at the bottom of my fire escape and stolen credit cards from the burglaries that he was doing. Yeah, I knew he was a burglar for his crack cocaine habit. He was a weirdo. We're more concerned, oh, but this is his reputation. You can't say anything against this person without audio, visual, recorded proof. That's the word they kept using. Well, isn't there audio, visual, recorded proof of Mr. Floyd in this incident that went viral? And the fact that there even needs to be a court case about it of did he do it? Did he look at the foot? Look at it. You're looking at the footage of it. What else do they need to know this man is guilty?
Wow.
I'm gonna find some little legal way because we value different lives based on how people look and not on the fact that all souls are created of equal value. Now, because of who I was, like what? Well, this is a man who's doing this to you, so you can't worry about a man's reputation. What? I'm a girl. My reputation is less valuable. I have to let someone just attack me and stalk me and make me miserable. Anyway, not to get off on a tangent, but I feel very certain that law, justice, reality, truth, it's all assigned to the people based on the value we give to the people. Like if a police officer does it, it's one thing. If a criminal does it, it's one thing. If a celebrity does it, it's one thing. If a politician does it, it's a separate set of rules. In what world are we living where each person gets their own set of law based on if they're a man or a woman or if they're rich or poor or if they're black or white? Like we deem people's lives valuable based on how they look and the status that they have in society, and it makes me sick. I'm pretty disgusted.
Well, the MMA fighter on Monday reported that he's a mixed martial artist.
Uh-huh.
Williams said he has been put in chokeholds dozens of times in MMA fights. Williams was on his way to Cup Foods, which is like this place where they would, get local groceries, deli things, snacks, pay their little
Yeah,
phone
yeah.
bill.
Uh-huh.
And Floyd was arrested there. When he arrived on the scene, he had saw Floyd, and Floyd was vocalizing that, he was in distress. And he said, he's seen Floyd fade away. And I'm just like gagging because, I have been hustling and, working. And I'm not saying that, I don't hear things and I don't pay attention to things. But I will make a note that I didn't necessarily support the Black Lives Matter movement. And that's because I didn't believe that all the lives that were Black and brown under that umbrella of Black lives, I didn't think that all those lives mattered. And I'll just make a point that, whether there's people with disabilities, Black lives or brown lives who may have a disability, or Black or brown lives who may be LGBT. I just didn't feel that all the brown and Black lives under the Black Lives Matter umbrella mattered. So I didn't support the movement. So because I didn't support the movement, I didn't really pay attention to all the chatter and the gossip and the blogging of the situation with Floyd. I just tried to catch bits and pieces on certain news platforms that I followed. Um, and with that being said, I didn't get involved in all the politics. And I just wish that the Black Lives Matter movement really became, if it starts to become more genuine, because after seeing this, I just felt very moved by what I saw yesterday, especially. And here in the USA Today article, hearing this young man say that he saw him fade away. You could see it in his eyes, and he slowly became pale and he fade away. And he's a wrestler, and he knows what the chokehold with his knee was doing to him. Uh, my heart definitely goes out to that family. It's very tough. I now feel moved to support uh, the movement of Black lives, but I think there needs to be a serious talk about what the movement really means, and how we all can participate. Misty?
I feel that we live in a society where each person's worth is on a totem pole of how much money they have and how they look and how much value and worth they are to the powers that be to extract financial revenue out of people. We all know that people with money are to the top of the totem pole and poor people are to the bottom, and women are somewhere in the middle, and the lighter you are, the brighter your star gets, and you get promoted right to the creme de la creme of the top. It's like it's a whole bunch of absurdity. We live in a world where money and looks makes you more valuable. And I feel like, unfortunately, since Black people first were in this country, they weren't even considered to be all the way people. We forget that. And then we think that somehow that venom has just evaporated because we see music videos and people hanging together and, oh, kumbaya. No, the hate is real and it's still there. We are on a nation of bloodshed and hate. Look what happened to the genocide of the Native American culture when the so-called explorers came here. And not to get like all the way back in time, back to this situation, I feel like it's very unfortunate that with audio visual recorded evidence of the incident, people are making all these different, oh, well, maybe it was this. What are you looking for excuses for Mr. Chauvin? Oh, well, a technicality. So, yeah, he's a cop, and yeah, this poor guy. I mean, maybe his mom didn't give him enough hugs when he was a kid. That's not an excuse. It wouldn't be an excuse for me to do something like that to a cop. Now, would it? If I put my if I put my knee on Mr. Chauvin's neck and did that to him, would it be a similar situation of, oh, well, he was resisting her, so she had every right to do what she did? No. The guy got a thrill out of doing what he did to that person because there's something wrong in his mind. And I don't think we should even be having a situation of wondering if he did it or, I mean, look at it. You're looking at it.
Well,
I didn't have the footage, but we do, and it went viral. What's the question of if he did it or not?
they call this chokehold blood choke, according to an alleged statement from this MMA fighter. Um, he did a blood choke knee hold. Uh,
Oh no.
isn't that terrible?
Well, I think it's terrible, especially because I don't think that it was warranted. Like, I don't think that over a counterfeit $20 bill, someone needs to be like restrained and asphyxiated and just the person's begging and pleading and being told, get in the car, do this, how is he gonna do that? Let's keep it real. And how is this allegedly even because it went viral? Everyone saw it. What are we going to undo that it happened and make up a whole new history of, oh, well, this officer just had, I mean, I don't care what happened in his life to make him that way he was. He did something against God's will. And now we're having like a whole political thing about it. Everyone has a different view. It's like the reverse of the O.J. Simpson trial where it's just, I don't know, it's a reversal, but it's the same concept of, yeah, OJ did what he did, but we had to make people feel better of the writing. So he got away with what he got away with, and that's fine because he was a celebrity and had money. If a poor person did that, they would be all the way under the jail and never see the light of day again. But if somebody has money, oh, they get a hall pass, or
Do
oh,
you
well,
think
that's an
that's really?
officer, they get a hall pass.
Do you think that's really true?
Do I think what is true?
That if you have money opposed to law and order and truth and justice,
I 1,000,000,000,000,000,000% feel that in this country, um, yeah, money makes the world go round.
you know what really bothered me is when yesterday they had a 9-year-old testifying. That's when it really hit home for me, and I was just like, wow, that's deep. I mean, I don't know. I have a question now. Are are we allowed to do a citizen's arrest? Like, I kind of feel like I would have wanted to initiate a citizen's arrest, like where we tried to attempt to stop him and or arrest him. Is that weird to even say?
Well, considering that he had a can of mace and aimed it at the people recording the footage and was about to um mace people if they, I mean, I guess if the people wanted to do a citizen's arrest, they would have got maced or got, I mean, he also had help. While he had his knee on that man's neck, there was a couple of what you call them, I call them bouncers or goons that were just standing there, like just still, just letting it all happen,
Hmm.
keeping the crowd back. That little mace can kept the crowd back, but they kept recording. But there's the audio visual recorded proof that everybody should need. But after all, this is a not only a police officer, but a white police officer. So I guess that makes him above the law, right? Kind of like when I would ask the police for help last summer, and there was some police officers that were going in combat of the Black Lives Matter. They were going around with blue fabric, talking about Blue Lives Matter. Like I was one night out, and there was an officer walking up and down with a blue flag, talking about Blue Lives Matter. And in my mind, I thought, this is all the way insane. Am I really looking at this and witnessing what I'm seeing? Some of these officers are corrupt, and it's like they're walking around with a blue flag, like there's some kind of blue devil crip in uptown Albany, trying to be mad against black people. It's going to make a bigger problem of, because then people were saying, oh, well, we need to defund the police and black lives versus blue lives. I mean, black and blue symbolizes violence. It reminds me of getting beat up all the time when I was in an abusive relationship and having all the black and blue marks, and that the black and blue would symbolize the hate and the suppression and the rage of the person who was holding me back.
I kind of feel like the police have been defunded because there's no presence of the police. There's garbage everywhere. There's like crime. There's just a lot. I mean, if
Well, I looked into it. They weren't necessarily defunded. I know that when the rioting was happening, a lot of the officers who were at the age of retirement definitely selected to, oh no, we're going to retire. We're not going to be dealing with all this chaos, because you have to remember that there was a lot of looting, a lot of rioting. Albany was in complete turmoil, as were a lot of places in the United States, especially last spring with all the broken glass and all the boarded up businesses and everything being shut down and all the chaotic energy. And during this time, did I get the help I needed? No. And they could blame it on the chaos of all this going on. But honestly, I think it's just because if I was a person wealthy and giving them a nice amount of tax money on a property or something, they would have taken me more seriously. But because I'm not wealthy and not someone that they would deem as a valuable human being, because I'm not a white man that's an officer or who has money or who has power, I was failed. I had to get stalked and tortured and harassed, and I would ask for help and help and help. I would call the mayor's office. I called so many avenues for help, and they're all just like, sounds like a problem, sweetie. Bye. Like, aren't you people getting tax dollars to pay your salaries to help a person like me? Or is it just to help yourselves?
I feel kind of the same because I had a situation where I called the big office and I said, there's a situation going on in a particular area. Um, I like to go to this particular meat market that was in the downtown area and it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And, I feel bad for some people who are like, who want to stay sober. Let's just say you're a recovery person and you're trying to stay sober and you just want to go do Google meat market because you want a particular specialty meat and you just want to go in a certain area and, those areas are like bad. So I saw some activity going on and like, I had made a mention to the mayor's office and I never got a return call back. I never got, any kind of correspondence. And I just kind of felt like it was nonchalant. And then when I called this say something line,
Uh-huh.
um, the person that I spoke to was just kind of like, duh, we know what's going on. Like, okay, like it was just so rough, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah, a lot. Like, I feel that justice is based on if you could afford to pay for it. Public defenders versus top-notch lawyers. Who gets what? And let's talk about the whole breakdown of society of what's the bigger picture of this entire situation. I mean, really? Like, uh, false idols and worshiping politicians and worshiping celebrities and thinking that it's okay that because we see them on television that they somehow are anointed by God, that we need to like take them off with tax dollars and give them the celebrity glam life. For what? They're just people with money. Isn't it a fact that money is the root of all evil, like the love of it?
I think they say that people can get very addicted to, a certain lifestyle, needing a lot of money to where, I mean, I checked out that video, Little
Yeah.
Nas X,
Oh my God. Oh my God. Still,
that
I'm glad I
video,
don't have children that would be watching the way that we're trying to get people to move.
Trying to get people to move.
Yeah, like let me give you a point. Back in the 90s, I had a song I used to listen to by an artist called Sister Soldier. I know it's an earlier song than that, but I was like around 16, 17. And I used to listen to this song called Slavery is Back in Effect by Sister Soldier. And it was almost like a precursor of what is happening right now. And recently I listened to it again and I was like, oh my God, it's like a prophecy. Because I feel like around the time when they were making gangster rap and making mainstream all like the drugs, sex, and cash,
Yeah.
worship, culture, where it's all and then it's like gotten out of control. Now in this days, it's just blatant, like it's it's borderline porn. What we're considering music, it's basically porn. And watching a bunch of drug addicts on pills mumble around the place and a bunch of women who act like strippers and whores or oh she's the queen and a regular smuggler woman who wants to make a difference in the world, oh she boring, she whack. It's like the whole values of society are being pushed to almost make it seem like black people are the enemy and they're the ones that are doing all this like low vibrational drug, sex, and cash stuff when it's really pushed by the media because the media is owned by people who have all the money. Very few people who have the money and the real power. Yeah, they want it to seem like black people are the problem. They want it to seem like all this like horrible stuff is like not going to benefit them when it does because who owns the jails? Let's keep that real. Who owns the world? Who owns all the resources? Who has all the power?
Who owns the jails?
Yeah, who owns the jails? The music industry invested a lot of money back in the 90s around the time of the gangster rap into prisons. And now all those people who followed along, chasing the jewels, chasing the paper, chasing that life and wound up in jail or dead. Who's in jail or dead and who's sitting on a bag of money who invested in the prison system? Things to make you go, I mean, it's all about making a buck at the end of the day. That's all this country is. It's on the blood of the people who they stole it from.
My heart goes out to the Floyd family. I mean, I'm gonna keep everyone updated as I, continue to watch the proceedings. I get alerts on my phone. As I said before, I wasn't always a fan of like the Black Lives Matter movement because I just didn't feel like all the Black and Brown lives mattered. But today I am just changing my mind a little bit, and I just feel that I wanted to get the message out that the trial is going on. I can't even believe that they're even, like you said, having to have a trial. That means someone's fighting and saying that he's justified in some sort, which I don't think so. Because I feel
Why isn't the law an equal playing field for everybody? Like you do this, this is what happens, period, point blank. Not, oh well, this happened, but well, you're an officer, so or you're white, oh well, you contribute tax dollars, you're having a good job, you're not some bum in the hood. So we'll let you slide. Oh, you got a good you got this lawyer. Oh, well, you good then. No, it's shame for everybody.
right.
Here at Sister Voices Speaking, our hearts go out to the members of George Floyd's family, his friends, and to any person who has felt the pain and injustice and the suffering of the unfairness of this thing that we called the law and fairness.
We'll keep you updated. And that was another Stormy Days, the podcast.